The following episode of TOFOP is rated MA. It may contain Batman references, time travel references, sexual references, lost trains of thought, and mild coarse language. TOFOP advises that the program is not suitable for anyone under the age of 15, or anyone who enjoys succinct, coherent conversation that might actually have a point. Minors must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or priest. This is John Deek speaking.
Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Wil Anderson. I don't know if you can hear my neighbour's gardeners are in. They're making quite a... They were actually in my yard when I got home this morning. I went for a walk.
What?
Went down to get coffee, and there was these gardeners like in my yard. And it turned out that our next door neighbour, this is how well our next door neighbour knows us. She's never here, but her place is kept pristine, right? You know, she has the gardeners, the pool cleaners, the whatever, and even if she's not around for 2 weeks, they come in and they do their job. And obviously there's some shit from our yard that's overhanging in her yard.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to just give someone half a haircut. So she sent her gardeners into our yard, and they worked in our yard for 45 minutes, trimming my hedges and shit, just because our neighbour obviously wanted them trimmed.
How come in horror films, you know, when there'll be that creepy house on the street with the weird trees and all run down and stuff, how come the neighbours just don't do the same thing? It wouldn't be the creepy house in the neighbourhood if horror films had considerate neighbours like yours.
I mean, that's a good point, because my next door neighbour on the other side mows the front, the lawn on the street. What do you call that? The nature strip. Because I don't.
What do you call that?
I don't have a mower. Well, I have an electric mower, like a plug-in lawn mower, because I only have this tiny little bit of grass out here outside the office, and so it's not really enough that you need a proper lawnmower.
Is it one of the? I had one of those. Is it one that you got to have the cord plugged in, or is it a battery one?
Yeah, you got to have the cord plugged in.
It's so annoying.
Well, this is why I can't do the nature strip, because
Yeah, right.
the cord doesn't go long enough for me to do the nature strip. So occasionally, I think when my neighbours are just getting a bit pissed off, they'll leave it they'll do theirs, and then it's kind of just long on my side, like it's a modern day AFL footballer's haircut, and. But then you can tell, about every second one, they'll do ours, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah, I mean it's weird, the concept of having when you've got spinning blades running along the ground, to also have a cord powering with electricity lying on the ground as well. It's not a great design.
Oh, and also the other thing is too, I'm mowing this tiny little bit of lawn, which is in a triangle shape, outside my office, and there's a tree in the middle of it, and so you have to kind of loop around and go backwards and stuff to
and you're not getting around the edge of the tree.
Yeah, but the other thing is you've got this fucking cord, so anytime you try to loop back or go backwards, you're in danger
Tethered.
of running over this fucking electrical cord with your fucking electric lawnmower. Anyway, I'm not very good at doing things myself, Charlie, as we've previously established on this podcast.
40,000 tradesmen who have visited over the past 3 weeks have taught us.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone who reminded me over the last 24 hours to bring...
Reminded us.
Well, us. But I think, it was never going to be a problem for you, was it? Because we're recording in your office where you've got thousands of DVDs.
Yeah, but here's what I would say is a lot of those DVDs aren't in their cases, and I didn't know if it would be easy for me to go to my DVD shelf and immediately find 5 things that I was just happy to give away that were also of sufficient quality for a podcasting experience.
So you picked them? You actually... I did a...
You did random.
I did a random grab.
No, I picked them.
All right.
In fact, one of them was one I had 3 copies of, so that was an easy choice.
Yeah, right.
I picked some ones that I knew that I wasn't going to watch again, that I wouldn't have a demand for, or that I had in some other format. That was kind of what I went with.
So I guess the way we'll do this is
how will we do this?
I reckon we just go through each DVD.
And what's the premise again? The premise is that we describe them, but we don't say whose they are.
We'll talk about each one.
Yeah, and we'll talk about each one. And then on the Facebook page, you have to come up with
whose DVDs belong to
who belongs to who.
So I think there's 10 DVDs.
Okay.
So 5 each.
Well, it could be 5 each. Let's keep some mystery, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
Well,
for this
we're
one,
giving away.
it's 5 each.
Yeah.
But in the future, if we do this again, it's 10, but it could actually be 10 of one person's and 0 of others, because that covers us for other times we promise to do this, and you forget to bring DVDs, we can just get 10 off my shelf.
And I suggest, I haven't had a look at them, but if a film you haven't seen, let's just pretend like you have seen it. Just to keep people guessing, because if we hold up a DVD and you go, "I've never seen it," then people are going to know it's mine.
Well, yeah. Let's not make it one of those fucking British TV panel shows where one of us lying and the other one is like, that we both have to pretend. But yes,
so basically, how well do you know Charlie? The show that we've used every live show the past 3 years. Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, this is our lo-fi version of that, but it's got prizes.
Yeah, does it? What's the prize?
The prize is that you get the DVDs, right?
What? No.
Oh,
Did we
that's
say
why
that?
you just chose. Yeah, I think we did say that.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, see, no.
I'll go to JB Hi-Fi and
You
I'll
just
buy.
randomly chose yours. You
Yeah.
know what? They can get my 5 DVDs.
Yeah, they can have your 5 DVDs.
Yeah, because I chose 5 that I could give away. That's why I got the ones that were doubles and stuff.
Yeah, right. I don't have double. That makes sense then. You get Will's DVDs.
You get my DVDs.
If you guess them correctly.
If you guess them correctly.
And maybe not.
Because I want to get rid of the DVDs as well. Because
Do you?
I'm just never going to watch all those
Yeah.
DVDs again.
That's true.
And they're clogging up my bookshelf. And it means I've just got something in my house that somebody else could be getting pleasure out of.
And just
that I am not going to use.
Just using eye matching, I would say that you, and this is not all your DVDs, but I would say you have probably 3 times my DVD collection. You have a lot of series, which inflates your numbers.
Yeah.
But you definitely have more than me.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm very happy to give away at least my portion of the DVDs
good.
as a prize.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad metaphor for this podcast in general. You're happy for it to cost you a little bit more. Good. All right, should we get the first one?
Yeah, you start. Just random. Are you going to randomly get one out?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this could be yours or mine, right? Oh yeah, nice. That's good.
Yeah, it's
Charlie
the
is
ball.
actually. I've hidden them behind my computer screen, so I can't see any of the DVDs. But I put the non-cover side towards Charlie so that he couldn't see. So nobody will know if it's yours or mine.
Yeah.
Or we'll know, but nobody else will know.
Okay.
But you're just going to describe it. We'll talk about the movie, right?
First DVD, Will.
The first DVD is a movie that I absolutely adore called Honeymoon in Vegas.
Starring James Caan, Nicolas Cage, and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Did James Caan get top billing on that?
He does.
He does.
This would have been, this is definitely, it's in between Girls Just Want to Have Fun and Sex and the City for Sarah Jessica Parker.
Right.
I mean, they're her 2 key, Sex and the City is obviously, that's her signature
Well, she's
role.
getting top billing in the Sex and the City movie, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But
is that the only movie that Sarah Jessica Parker, or has she done other stuff since then that
since?
she'd be the top billing in a movie?
Oh, no, I think hasn't she done some she did some film... She does ensemble films, I feel like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, is she a top billing actress? She clearly was in that TV show.
So. I'd say so, but I don't know that you'd see a Sarah Jessica Parker film these days, would you?
Well, I don't know.
I think she's more of a TV star now.
She's definitely a TV star. There's no doubt about that. But I kind of thought
She never really got top billing prior to that, let me just say. That's what I'm saying. Girls Just Want to Have Fun is where we all noticed her. And then there's a period...
LA Story.
Yeah, but she's always supporting. She had key little cameos. She was more of a character actor, wasn't she?
Yeah,
And then she
I guess
became a
so.
leading lady in Sex and the City.
Yeah, I guess that.
She was in that movie Striking Distance with Bruce Willis, where he's cop on the water. It was back in Bruce Willis's I'm a cop in any situation phase.
I'm a water cop.
I'm a water cop.
I love being a cop on the water, but this is my worst day at work. All right, let's have a look at what she's been doing recently off our IMDb page. She's in a TV series called Divorce.
Yeah, with
at the
Thomas
moment.
Hayden Church.
And before that, she was in All Roads Lead to Rome.
Don't know.
Glee. She was in Glee,
Glee?
the television show Glee, apparently.
Did she sing? Must have.
Escape from Planet Earth.
She was in Ed Wood.
New Year's Eve. Okay, yeah, that's an ensemble piece,
Okay,
isn't
yeah.
it? I don't know how she does it. Sex and the City 2.
I don't know how
That
she
would have been
does it.
I reckon Sex and the City 2, she would have been so she's lead in
Easily.
that, right? She's number 1. Did you hear about the Morgans?
Yeah, right.
Sex
Hugh
and the
Grant.
City, Smart People, Spinning in a Butter, Failure to Launch. Yeah, you're right. There's not
Failure
okay.
to Launch. That's a Matthew McConaughey film.
Yeah, so he would have got top billing in that.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
So it's really Sex and the City.
All
So she gets third billing. So it's James Caan, Nicolas Cage, Sarah Jessica Parker. Now this is back in the phase when Nicolas Cage I'm going to say it's pre-Oscar, pre-leaving Las Vegas.
Yep.
And pre-action hero phase, and obviously pre-insane person phase.
It's funny that you say that because I think I probably got into Nicolas Cage around the action phase.
What? Really?
Yeah. But then at the same time, kind of, obviously there was all these
Discovered.
other movies.
Yeah.
So to me, he seemed at the time, a very, well-rounded and complex actor. You were like, oh, fuck, who's this guy?
He
can
was.
do action. He can do comedy. Like, you know, I didn't get him stereotyped as any sort of actor because suddenly when I discovered him as like this action movie star, I also discovered this like back catalogue of stuff that wasn't that.
Well, I think he was. I mean, when I think of Nicolas Cage, I think Raising Arizona. That's when I think I first noticed him. Peggy Sue got married, and he was always the quirky, weird guy, always making the choice to like do a silly voice or have crazy hair or just real chew the scenery kind of type stuff.
Although, as we've come to realise, it may not have been as much of a choice as we thought. That might have just been how Nick rocked up day by day.
I'd say when I was working on Home and Away, a lot of young actors on that show hated Nicolas Cage. They talked about him in the same way people might regard David Hasselhoff or something, just a joke.
But that's from his time on Home and Away, right? That was a great storyline when Nicolas Cage...
Alf, I'm your son. Oh, Alf. You know, he had a thing, Nicolas Cage. It was an acting gimmick. He would shout the last couple of words of every sentence.
Yeah.
That was his shtick. In fact, there's a great line in Honeymoon in Vegas where he's trying to get to Hawaii and all the flights are booked and stuff. And he starts complaining and the woman who works the airline's like, sir, if you don't calm down, we'll have to do something. He's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Throw me in airport jail!
Well, that was his motto at the time, wasn't it? It was, despite all my rage, I'm still just Nicolas Cage.
So Honeymoon in Vegas, who was it directed by?
Who was it directed by?
Andrew Bergman. Oh, I think he's directed one of your favourite films, Hudson Hawk.
Is that right?
Maybe? Type in Andrew Bergman.
How do I spell Bergman?
Bergman.
By the way, this is not a clue for anybody at home going, Will doesn't know who the director is, because this will be the general premise mostly of movies. I rarely know, unless the director's like a famous director, I rarely know who the director is. Sorry to all directors who think you're the most important thing in a film. Andrew Bergman?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Andrew Bergman, let's have a look here. Andrew Bergman is an American screenwriter, film director, and novelist. New York Magazine in 1985 dubbed him the unknown king of comedy. All right, there you go. Let's have a look at
any
his
films that we would know?
Films directed by Andrew Bergman.
I don't think he did do Hudson Hawk. No,
So let's
I
have a
take
look.
that back.
So Fine in 1981, The Freshman in 1990.
Oh yeah, that was with
Honeymoon
Marlon
in
Brando.
Vegas, 1992.
Yeah.
It Could Happen to You, 1994. Striptease. Do you remember the
Yeah.
famous Striptease movie?
Yeah, $20 million for two boobs, I believe.
1996. And Isn't She Great in the year 2000? So no, he did not.
Yeah.
It says underneath there, let's have a look at his awards. Golden Raspberry Awards for Worst Director. He won Worst Director in 1996 at the Golden Raspberries for Striptease, which is probably the...
All right, I'll read you the plot.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage is Jack Singer, a second-rate private eye who has managed to win the undying love of gorgeous school teacher Betsy Nolan, Sarah Jessica Parker. Now, after 5 years, Betsy wants a commitment, but Jack is plagued by his mother's deathbed wish that he never marry. In an irrational moment, Jack relents and proposes a quick fix Vegas-style ceremony. With Elvis impersonators convention in town, the marriage capital of the world is buzzing with Viva Las Vegas, and Betsy couldn't be more excited. Jack, though, wants to play his last hand before giving his, and gets suckered into a poker game with card shark Tommy Cormer, and loses Betsy to him. So, in an indecent proposal style setup,
Right.
James Caan has been coveting Nicolas Cage's wife and tricks him into a game that he can't win, and he loses her for a weekend.
Yeah, it's, it's essentially... it's like, it's Indecent Proposal in Vegas.
Yeah. In a hunker burnin' fun,
Oh yeah, nice.
Jack puts on his blue suede shoes and races to save Betsy from a man who's nothing but a hound dog in the riotous romantic comedy Honeymoon in Vegas.
I mean, you would have thought, here's just one thing that I would say. You would have thought that he's on his kind of moral high horse, suggesting somebody else is nothing but a hound dog when he himself is the sort
Put
of
his wife
person
up.
who would bet up his fiance in a game of cards. That to me feels like, you know what, Pot? This is the kettle, you're blackjack.
What are your memories of this film?
Look, here's the thing. I remember I
remember it being really good and really funny, and I've watched it a lot of times.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I reckon sits on the shelf, occasionally comes out. It's not like one of those ones where I'm like, I'm going to watch this all
It's
the
not
time.
a Hangover Day film or anything like that.
No, it doesn't evoke any particular special memories for me or anything like that.
I do remember Sarah Jessica Parker being particularly hot in this phase. This is when she was like super, before she got Sex and the City sophisticated, she was just a cute, super cute and very cool chick. It was something like something about Mary. That's the
Right.
kind of character she played. Impossibly gorgeous, impossibly fun, impossibly cool. The kind of fiance you would never put up in a card game.
Yeah,
As
she
collateral.
was Sarah Jessica Perkier,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, she was the ideal woman. She was like that world's version of that sort of, pixie kind of heroine.
And I also seem to remember, I'll just check the credits in the back, that Pat Morita is in it. Mr. Miyagi playing a taxi driver. And then Sarah just Pat Morita, there you go. With music by David Newman. I don't know who that is.
Read me the front cover of it. I want to know what they've said about this movie. What's the information on the front cover that's made me pick that up?
It's a love that's all shook up in neon writing. And then it says, a comedy about one bride.
By the way, once they decided they were going to use Elvis puns,
they leaned hard on it.
Don't you reckon the rest of the day was just done?
Yeah.
Like that was one of those ones where if we do this Elvis riff, everything can just
write
all the
itself.
copy will write itself.
Yeah. A comedy about one bride, ... two grooms, ... and 34 flying Elvises. Now that gets me in the cinema.
I mean, that's the pitch, right?
Yeah.
I imagine they've just written the pitch for the movie on the front cover of the DVD.
One bride, two grooms. What are we talking about? Bloody fucking polygamy here, are we? Is this DVD halal?
Yeah, obviously got banned in a lot of Utah.
Yeah, and Queensland.
Oh, actually, probably celebrated. Sorry, I've got that the wrong way
Yeah,
around.
the wrong way around. Yeah. All right. Do you want to take the next DVD or?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I'll reach around.
Yeah.
I'll reach around.
Give it a reach around.
The back of the
Give it a
hang
bit
on.
of a shuffle.
They know that we've shuffled from before, and I can't see the DVDs.
Yeah,
so
you're just knocking them
so
everywhere.
I'm just knocking them everywhere. Okay, so this movie, Charlie, I'll get you to read out the title. It's right here.
Jacob's Ladder.
Now, I loved this movie. Obviously, I saw the first one, Jacob's Step Ladder, and I was just
Oh
locked
God,
in.
he just dusted off some material from like your first 2 years as a stand-up.
That's why I bought this DVD. It was as a prop.
Yeah.
I used to do mostly DVD prop material. The end of Blockbuster really fucked up my act. That was the problem. I'll read you the front cover. Tim Robbins, he gets his own billing right up the top.
Yeah.
Tim Robbins, the most frightening thing about Jacob Singer's nightmare. Hang on. His name was Jacob Singer. What was the name of...
Oh yeah.
What was the name of Nick Cage's character?
Jack Singer.
Jack Singer.
Holy shit.
Fuck, I reckon they were probably related. Don't you think they were related?
What year was that one, mate?
Well, this one was in... hang on. It'll say on the back somewhere, right? I'm really bad at looking this sort of things up. 1990.
Where does it say the...
Right down the bottom, there's like a copyright, like 1990 thing down there. So I assume that's about the year, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. So when was yours? Do you know?
Can't see the copyright. No. I think this would be about 93, 94.
I think it was 92 from memory when we were
Okay.
looking up the director. So,
All right.
Okay, so they're the same era. So they could be brothers or
They
something.
could be brothers.
They could
It's
be
a
actually
shared
be
universe.
brothers. Look at this. Yeah, they all exactly. They were setting up a superhero franchise
Yeah.
that was going to have
The Singer, the
Jacob
Singerverse.
Singer.
Directed by Brian Singer.
It was all, but there was actually all the other actors were going to be former singers.
Yeah.
So it was going to be Justin Timberlake and Beyonce and stuff. It was going to be a really high concept thing. Never really came off. Made all the costumes on a Singer sewing machine.
Ah, damn it. I was going to bring that up and I was like, oh, you're really pushing the gag there, Charlie. Trust you to go for it. Did they do a sponsorship with KFC where you get a Zinger burger?
Oh, the Singer Zinger.
The Singer Zinger.
Yeah, I love it. It's an Adrian Lyne film. And Jacob's Ladder, and then the little blurb, the little, what do you call the line? What do you call that? The most frightening thing about Jacob Singer's nightmare is that he isn't dreaming. Well, it's not really a nightmare.
No, man,
then, is
no,
it?
not really.
Jacob's Ladder, here's what it says on the back. For years, Jacob Singer has been haunted by flashbacks of his wartime experiences in Vietnam. But now, years later, something more frightening is occurring. Something more frightening than the Vietnam War, Charlie. Hallucinatory demonic images have invaded his life.
That's right.
Jacob, fearing for his sanity, seeks out his old psychiatrist only to discover that he's been killed in a car explosion. Later, an old war buddy confronts him with a tale of terror. He tells Jacob that he's experiencing the same nightmarish visions that are haunting Jacob. Jacob is stunned, but their bond is short-lived. Soon afterward, Jacob's friend is killed in another car explosion. I mean, really, like, isn't this just like the first two like paragraphs of the plot?
Yeah, no, you're giving away a lot of
There's a lot of spoilers on the back of this. Spoiler alert.
DVDs can have
the
spoilers.
blurb. Here's the thing. I mean, I guess it was kind of a PTSD metaphor, right? Like it's somebody coming back from war.
Well, I haven't seen this in a
haunted by-
long time, but my memory of it is that he's obviously a PTSD vet with his seeing these visions, but isn't there something along the way of like he doesn't know if maybe when he was serving he contracted agent, like what are they, because there's all those problems. Is it Agent Orange? What's that chemical they used during the Vietnam War? You got a lot of vets
I
now
think so.
who came back to Australia who are having all these symptoms. So I think that's an element as well. So they constantly play with, is he tripping this? Is he in like a hospital bed somewhere imagining this whole thing?
Jacob's Ladder was made by Corolco Pictures 10 years after being written by Rubin. It drew from several inspirations for its stories and effects, including the short film An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge and the paintings of Francis Bacon.
Oh, yeah. That's true. It does have that dark imagery. Isn't
don't
there
really
like
say-
a party scene where his girlfriend's dancing like manically on the dance floor and then like a tentacle appears between her legs or something?
I mean, this is a more interesting pitch, isn't it? We want to make a PTSD horror movie based on some paintings I saw. Like...
Yeah, it's good.
Though
So you're saying that's better than a comedy about one bride, two grooms, and 34 flying Elvises?
would you call it a hunker burning ladder? No?
He's certainly feeling blue suede shoes.
These are the only two we know. I know he had 100 songs, but we have to riff on these two ideas. Wise men say only fools rush in, except in this opportunity to make this film about a guy and his ladder, his best friend, the ladder. The ladder's his best friend.
What does the ladder refer to? Is it something about the 7 stages of hell or something? Does it say... Just type in what is Jacob's ladder.
Let's have a look. Actually, in real life, because
Is it actually a real life term?
I think it is, but let's have a look, and we can find out.
And I also seem to remember Macaulay Culkin being in this film as an eerie, like, child.
Oh, okay. Ooh, all right.
What?
Okay. Yep.
Is this something we don't want to talk about?
No. Okay. This
Are
is
you
okay.
on the dark web now?
Okay. So, firstly, I've got a guy who can get us some mushrooms.
Oh, excellent.
Secondly, I've got another guy who can get us some mushrooms and some guns. And then I've got a third guy. We definitely don't want to click on his links. But the fourth guy's got some information about Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder is the colloquial name for a connection between the earth and heaven.
Right.
That the biblical patriarch Jacob dreams about during his flight from his brother Esau. Esau,
Esau? Yeah, I don't know.
as described in the book of Genesis. So it's from Genesis.
Yeah,
Jacob's
Phil
Ladder.
Collins.
As described in the book of Genesis.
After Peter Gabriel left. Was it Peter
Yeah,
Gabriel?
yeah, that's right. Yes, after Peter Gabriel left.
Gabriel, the angel. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck, it's all connected.
It all makes sense now, man. Phil Collins is the devil, right? The significance of the dream has been somewhat debated, but most interpretations agree that it identified Jacob with the obligations and inheritance of the ethnic people chosen by God, as understood in Abrahamic religions. It has since been used as a symbolic reference in various other contexts. Okay, yeah, we need a little,
What does each step? Are
Kind
there
of
different stages of the
cultural
ladder?
references. Here we go.
All right.
Jacob's Ladder has been depicted in many artworks. That's probably where he got the inspiration for one of those fucking artworks
Francis
he was
Bacon.
looking at. Jacob's Ladder is the name given to a long, steep and winding stairway in Edinburgh where the steps carve directly into the volcanic rock face of Caton Hill.
Yes, I've been down those stairs.
Written records indicate it existed since at least 1759, although it's likely to be much older, as it's the quickest pedestrian route up the hill, which dominates the skyline of the Scottish capital. In July 2016, it was announced that the much-used stairway will be... okay, we don't need to
No,
know
we
about
don't know the actual stairs. Just
Yeah,
tell us about the
okay.
real ladder, man.
Okay,
Is there any superstition around it or anything like
it
that?
doesn't really seem
Okay,
to
so
be,
basically, in terms of how it relates to this film, is this guy feels trapped between heaven and earth, right? Because he's
Yeah.
not sure if he's alive or dead. So he's somewhere on Jacob's ladder.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. There we go. So we should keep moving on because we, need to get through.
Well, a little bit of trivia as well.
Okay.
Same writer of Jacob's Ladder was the writer of Ghost,
Well, there you go.
who was also the writer-director of My Life with Michael Keaton.
All right. That is a bit of... Okay, you go next.
Okay, close my eyes, rattling around for a bit.
Oh, Jason Alexander was in it as Mr. Geary, the lawyer. Ving Rhames was in it.
Well,
as
he
George.
he's the Vietnam vet.
Oh, of
buddy.
course he does,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah, young Ving Rhames.
Yeah, right. Lewis Black as Jacob's
Lewis
doctor.
Black, the
Yeah.
comedian.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And Macaulay Culkin, uncredited. He was uncredited. Macaulay didn't uncredited performance.
What year was it made again? So this was pre or post Home Alone? Must have been pre. There's no way.
1990.
Oh, it would have been the same year as Home Alone. That's amazing. They got him just pre fucking Kevin McAllister.
Or maybe he just walked onto the set from the Home Alone set. Maybe they were
Ironically, he was not there. He was home. He was in the studio alone.
He got trapped in the studio and ended up in the film.
All right, next DVD is something we were talking about only last week. It is
Tom Cruise stars in a little movie called Interview with the Vampire.
Tom Cruise gets top billing, then the title, Interview with the Vampire. Subtitle, The Vampire Chronicles. I think that was probably added
That
to
was
the
the
DVD.
books.
Oh, was it?
The books were called The Vampire Chronicles, I believe.
And then in star order, under the title, Brad
Yep.
Pitt, Antonio Banderas, Stephen Rea, and Christian Slater.
Stephen Rea.
Oh, is it
Stephen
Rea?
Rea?
Oh, Rea?
Stephen Rea?
R-E-A. What do...
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know.
a good actor, that guy.
He is Irishman. Christian Slater, of course, who, another bit of trivia, replaced River Phoenix, who was the original
that's
interviewer,
right.
and then died halfway through. Didn't take a fee, I believe. But he's ruined that now.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
oh,
Mr.
no,
Robert. He's got Mr. Robert.
Yeah, he's fine
okay.
now, but for a couple of years, for about 10 years ago, he was really wishing he'd taken that
Every special
that interview with
edition.
the vampire. Everybody else is minted for the rest of their life, and he goes, "I'll do it for free."
Yeah. It was rated MA, Will,
Yep.
for medium level violence and adult themes.
Here we go. I'll tell you a little bit about the production because it is
Yeah.
one that has an interesting story behind it. Author Anne Rice adapted her 1976 novel Interview with the Vampire into a screenplay with French actor Alain Delon in mind for the role of Louis. Later on, when the film was made, British actor Julian Sands was considered to play the role of Lestat
He'd
by
be
Rice.
great.
Well, that's
He
who
went and
she
played
wanted,
Warlock.
remember? And that was the thing at the time was
Yeah.
everybody was like, yeah, brilliant. But because Sands was not a well-known name at the time, being only famed for his performance in A Room with a View, he was rejected and the role was given to Tom Cruise.
Can't argue with that, really.
This
Dollars
was
a
initially
cents.
criticised by Anne Rice, who said that Cruise was no more my vampire Lestat than Edward G. Robinson is Rhett Butler. I mean, that's a pretty dated reference there. But
Well, but the undead will get it, so she's talking to her audience.
yeah, that's right. And the casting was so bizarre, it's almost impossible to imagine how it's going to work. So there was a lot of, the beloved author of the books, the person that they were based on, basically was on the public record saying that,
This sucks.
this sucks. He's not my...
Probably also
not my vampire.
Probably also worth noting that Stephen King hates the Shining movie as well. So sometimes authors, not the best judge of adaptations.
Yeah, I mean, and also sometimes, I can imagine when you see something that's even better than what you did,
Yeah.
you can go, oh, fuck, that's what I should have
I
done.
believe, you'll probably get to it, but I do believe she changed her story once the film came out.
Yes. Nevertheless, she was satisfied with Cruise's performance after seeing the completed film, saying that from the moment he appeared, Tom was Lestat for me.
He's good in it.
Yeah. And Tom did make Lestat work with something I could not see in a crystal ball. And I imagine she has plenty of crystal balls.
Oh, yeah, nowadays.
Due to Rice's perception of Hollywood's homophobia, at one point she rewrote the part of Louis, changing his sex to female in order to specifically heterosexualize the character's relationship with Lestat. At the time, Rice felt it was the only way to get the film made, and singer-actress Cher was considered for the part.
Wow.
Along a song titled Lovers Forever, which Cher wrote, along with Shirley Eichhardt for the film's soundtrack, got rejected as Pitt was ultimately cast for the role. Though a dance pop version of the song was released on Cher's 2013 album, Closer to the Truth.
Wow, fucking held onto that for 20 years. Good on you.
Everybody's making some money out of this except for Christian Slater. Even sure, who didn't get the fucking part, still making more money out of it than poor old Christian Slater, who did the right thing.
Isn't it funny that she felt like she needed to change that character into a female to combat homophobia back then, but nowadays you'd want her to write that character into a female character just so there's more diversity on the screen. So it's like, can't fucking win.
Originally, River Phoenix was cast for the role of Daniel Malloy. But he died 4 weeks before it was due to be filming. When Christian Slater was cast in his place, he donated his entire salary to Phoenix's favourite charitable organisations. Dealers. The film has a dedication to Phoenix after the end credits. Well, he gets a dedication, and he wasn't even in it.
Do you find it's weird, like films like Into the Vampire, where he died, which is all about death and dying and living out life after death, or The Crow, which is about someone coming back from. Do you feel a bit weird watching it when that person's died? Like, if the Joker had died at the end of Dark Knight, would you think it makes it a bit strange watching that film?
I mean, no. No is my answer. I mean,
it gives it a little extra kind of poignancy. The Crow, definitely. When you watch The Crow, knowing that this is the last film we ever made and knowing what the themes are, I think it does make that film more powerful. I don't know that film would have been as big a hit if he hadn't died.
No, I get that. Yeah, yeah. It's their final performance. And yes, it does. If the themes of the movie are similar themes, then I guess, yes, it does. But
hard conversation when your agent comes to you, your manager is like, look, the studio's a little worried about the opening weekend for this film. We think we have a surefire strategy to make sure people see it. Yeah. You're going to have to die.
You're going to have to die. For how long? No.
No, Zac Efron. You don't come back from this. I know your life's been pretty blessed till now, but not even you with your perfect abs and beautiful face and charming personality can come back.
It turns out when your agent did the deal to get you that much money and that bigger trailer, you did sign one clause that said if the market testing shows that we're not going to make our budget back on the first weekend, you will have to die. So
probably should have brought that up. But.
I mean, I think he mentioned it in the meeting, but you were so excited about the trailer, you were checking out the waterbed at the time. So we did mention it. We had 3 lawyers there. Remember? You didn't really look at them because you're smoking from the giant bong we installed, but. You signed it, mate. You signed it because there was a little bit of yellow next to it.
Do you want to hear the blurb from the back? This is actually an art form that I've forgotten about now that we don't have DVDs. Because these aren't like your Wikipedia or IMDb synopses. No. These are marketing materials.
Exactly. Because if someone picks it up and they're like, oh, I'm almost convinced. I do think I'd like to see a movie where they interview a vampire, and I do like John Cruise. John Cruise. There's someone who doesn't really like movies that much. Yeah. I like John Cruise. I loved him in Top Gun. So yeah, okay. Tell us about it.
So there's the big title on the back is "Drink from Me and Live Forever."
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Bad advice, I'd say. Don't take that to heart in any situation. The undead are among us and livelier than ever when Tom Cruise...
shut
doesn't
up.
That start?
It does not say that.
Sounds like I'm reading a comedy. It depends on the tone of voice, right? Hang on, let's see if I can do it serious. The undead are among us and livelier than ever when... No, it doesn't work.
No! And livelier than ever.
You need... Michael, can you put some wacky comedy music behind me? The undead are among us and livelier than ever when Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and a talented group of young bloods star in Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, you're kidding me.
That's literally what
That's like says. A TV station promo. It's like the thing that comes up at the end where it's like, they've accidentally bought Interview with the Vampire and they're showing it and no one's really watched it and they're just going, oh, we've got to make this sound more fun.
The spellbinding screen adaptation of Anne Rice's bestseller is one of the year's best films, according to Karen James, New York Times. Award-winning box office favourite Cruise stylishly plays the supremely evil and charismatic vampire Lestat. Pitt is Lewis, lured by Lestat into the... Is it Louis or Lewis?
I can't remember.
I think it's Louis. Lured by Lestat into the immortality of the damned, then tormented by the unalterable fact of vampire life. To survive, he must kill. Stephen Rea, Antonio Banderas, Christian Slater, and newcomer Kirsten Dunst also star.
Well, that's the other thing. We should talk about Kirsten Dunst because we haven't mentioned her. Who's awesome. Amazing in this film.
One of the best child performances, this and The Sixth Sense, I reckon.
Yeah.
I mean, she has to play like a centuries-old vampire because, she stays the size of a child, and you buy it. Like when she's storming around having a tantrum because she can't cut her hair and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, that seems like a grown woman in a child's body.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. And I think perhaps unless Haley Joel Osment has a strong comeback from here, out of the two, she's probably, she's
got a better career. She's bloody Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah, she's fine.
When they do the 50th reboot of Spider-Man, she'll be Aunt May for sure.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's got an inbuilt retirement plan, the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah. She needs to talk to Christian Slater about long-term planning. One lifetime alone offers plenty of opportunities for the savage revelries of the right. What? Oh no, the night.
Of the right? Hang on, what?
Reading
it's an
something
alt-right
here
movie.
Yeah.
The vampires are just sick of the millennials.
So it's One
That's
Nation.
why they're killing. They're just like...
One lifetime alone offers plenty of opportunities for the savage revelries of the night.
Okay.
It fits for both though. Imagine what an eternity can bring. But it doesn't give you a question mark at the end. They should have a question mark at the end of that sentence, right? Imagine.
No, it's a demand. Imagine what an eternity could bring.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then get back to the movie.
Hypnotically.
Imagine. You didn't take enough time to imagine.
Sorry.
You kind of imagined all the things an eternity could bring in that time. You're standing there in the shop like 8 weeks later, staring at the back. Someone comes over. You all right, sir? Just imagining all the things that eternity could bring.
Hypnotically directed by Neil Jordan of The Crying Game.
In that he actually hypnotized all the cast to be involved. No one got
at least
paid.
Christian Slater.
He did it with a watch.
Interview with a Vampire offers enough thrills, and what other two things?
Spills.
No.
And kills.
No, they don't rhyme.
The Grinspoon album.
Thrills rhymes with socks.
Shocks.
Yep. And fiendish fun to last a lifetime. And beyond. This is the worst so far.
It didn't say a lifetime and beyond.
Oh, it does, mate.
Oh, shut up.
It does. Offers enough thrills, shocks, and fiendish fun to last a lifetime and beyond.
Shut the fuck up.
Whoever wrote
This is
that.
like the worst writing.
All right. We also have to nominate. That's the leader for the worst blurb so far.
Definitely worst blurb. One lifetime. Oh my God. Enough thrills, shocks, and fiendish fun.
I know, it sounds like you're going to Disney's Haunted Mansion or
Exactly.
something.
Oh, would you like to come in for some fiendish fun?
It's like a theatre restaurant.
Oh,
Hunchbacks.
it's interview with the vampire. How many people have you killed today? 1, 2.
I love to count.
I'm having some fiendish fun.
Yeah, that's terrible.
A lifetime and beyond.
And beyond. Is it exclamation mark after beyond?
No. That's their version, though, of Elvis riff.
Yeah.
They've tried to go,
They've tried to loop it around blood-sucking, nighttime, vampire puns.
But the movie
that doesn't suck.
That's misleading. That's clearly trying to get people to watch.
Read the first line again.
That's people trying to. This is trying to get people to watch this movie who will not enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
It's trying to sucker people in, implying this movie is because it's not fiendish fun.
No, it's actually quite a serious film, right?
The undead are among us and livelier than ever.
Like, so misleading. Like, that suggests that you invite them to a party. They're the ones holding court, telling stories. Oh, Lestat's got a lampshade on his head again.
You can't shut that Lestat up. Lestat's in the kitchen holding court, constantly being interviewed. You don't even need to interview him. He won't shut up.
He's got 6 podcasts.
Lestat's podcasting again.
Lestat's podcast.
Lestat's podcast.
All right, you'll go.
All right, yes, okay.
Dip into the...
That was good, though. I enjoyed that. That was
we got a lot out of that.
Got a lot out of this one. Well, all right, here we go. This one, Charlie, is an extended edition, by the way.
Right, yeah.
So it's got to be good. It got. I'm gonna let you try to guess this one. Oh, you'll know what it is because you might know what it is. So it doesn't matter to guess. I'm just gonna get you to say what it is.
Okay. Bridesmaids.
So, 5 stars from Cosmopolitan, 5 stars from Grazia, 4 stars from Marie Claire, and 4 stars from She Magazine. No blurb on the front, just says extended edition.
Because it's been made in the last 5 years. Marketing's changed. All these films are made in the 90s, the ones we've read so far.
On the back, they've got a pull quote from the Daily Telegraph. Outrageous, rude, and thigh-slapping funny. It says also on the back extended edition. So they're really selling it on the extended edition.
Yeah.
They go, we know you love Bridesmaids, but you would love more Bridesmaids. Okay, here's what it says on the back of it. 30-something, actually, before we get to the blurb, I'll run you through the bonus features that are in, because this is more your modern day DVD.
Is it Paul Feig directed this one?
Yeah, that's right. Paul Feig, starring
Feig.
Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, Rose Byrne, Ellie Kemper, Melissa McCarthy. That's a really good...
That's Melissa McCarthy's star-making role, right?
Absolutely. Ellie Kemper is like, I mean, do you watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch it, but I know who she is. The redhead, right?
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah.
Rose Byrne, like, just very good comedically in this movie. All right, here's the blurb. Let's see if the blurbs have got better. I bet they have. 30-something Annie,
livelier than ever.
Kristen Wiig, has hit a rough patch but finds her life completely turned upside down when she takes on the maid of honor role in her best friend Lillian's wedding. In way over her head, but determined to succeed, Annie leads a hilarious ensemble of bridesmaids on a wild ride down the road to the big event. Okay, now, that's all. That's all
you need.
That's pretty simple.
Perfect.
Now, let's just see if that could have worked the same for Interview with the Vampire.
Okay.
300-something Lestat has hit a rough patch, but finds his life completely turned upside down when he takes on the maid of honor role in his best friend Louis' wedding. In way over his head, but determined to succeed, Lestat leads a hilarious ensemble of vampires on a wild ride down the road to the big event. Yeah, well, that works better.
That really works
I
pretty
think
well.
that's actually... You would feel much less misled by that blurb than you would by the one they've actually got on the back of the movie.
I like Bridesmaids.
Yeah, me too.
Melissa McCarthy, obviously. But
Brilliant.
Kristen Wiig is one of those actors where, like a Will Ferrell, in the right movie, just give her all the kind of like ad-libbing time in the world, because I think she's so funny.
She's just, I mean, that movie is just full of superstar funny women.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There's one that's coming out now called Rough Night or
Yeah,
something
the
that really
Scarlett
feels like,
Johansson.
it really feel like that somebody just went, hey, can we make Bridesmaids that isn't Bridesmaid? What if Bridesmaids was The Hangover?
Or Bad Mums too, or Bad Mums, and they're making Bad Mums too. So they
Would have been
definitely...
great if they started with Bad Mums too.
It's kind of weird though. It's sort of a bit like female gross out comedy now, which is only like a fairly recent phenomena. It's kind of like the bad Santa, bad teacher, bad grandpa, whatever.
Right.
Bad parent, which is a very depressing film. So you shouldn't watch that one. It's actually not a comedy.
Bad Priest. That was
But it's weird that like it took people's like that mainstream films took so long to latch onto this formula, because most of the girls I know, if you get them together, especially, you know, if they've had a few drinks, are fucking hilarious and just as fucking like balls out brash as all my male friends.
Well, I think what originally they thought was that, you know, men might eventually evolve to be better, like women are. But essentially what's happened is women have devolved to be as terrible.
We've
as
brought you
men
down
are.
to our level.
The only
Well-
true equality is you come. Like women were like, hey, we're actually better than you. We're going to go out in front. Could you guys have the same standard as us? And then eventually women went, fuck. Well, that's not going to happen, is it? So we might as well go back to their level and be equal.
I know how you feel about bodily functions in general.
Yes.
But in films that you like
worse.
that have...
Worse. Terrible.
You don't enjoy it at all?
I hate it. I
Right.
hate it.
Gross out humour's not your
Grossed
thing.
out humour. Even in Pitch Perfect, there's this like vomiting
the vomiting
scene.
scene. That's insane.
You know how I am with vomit. And
Yeah.
like,
Diarrhea is not much better.
no, it's not. It is better though. I'll tell you that, because the other thing with diarrhea is you rarely, like in movies, I mean, like the other thing with movie diarrhea is it's rarely, not without exception, but it's rarely seen. It's most often implied, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll hear the sounds,
Yeah.
but it's rare.
That you actually see excrement.
Yeah. Whereas like these days, you see vomit
You
all
see
the time.
cum. Like, when did cum
a lot
become
of- like, a lot
so
of-
acceptable now?
Just
Like, I
As
think
long as
something
you
about
don't see
Mary...
it-
No,
Yeah.
it would be... No, Silence of the Lambs was the first cum I saw in a mainstream film.
Yeah, but that was meant to be like an adult, shocking. Like this was a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like or no, he was, but whoever. Like
Multiple
it was
MIGs. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, right. So yeah, like this and deranged who's like masturbating on someone in a prison.
Yeah.
Like that's edgy, right?
Yeah.
But I think something about Mary made it mainstream. Something about Mary made it just funny that you could suddenly joke about the idea if somebody had too much gel in their hair that they had cum in their hair.
It's actually-
and now they just show cum.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't come out of a penis, but you're allowed to show.
Isn't that weird? Like, you can show a flaccid penis and
Right.
then cum, but the middle part...
Right.
Like, not even an erect penis not going anywhere. Erect penis is too full on for us to take. It's like, if you're going to show me the start and the end, just give me the second act as
I
well.
guess if they can show you a baby, they can show you cum.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, they're both the same, right?
And also-
like one, it's just one or the other.
Look, I'm not sure.
I mean, they're not both the same,
if you-
clearly. I know
I'm not
more
sure if
than
you've
that,
heard of this
but-
thing called the internet, but I
Okay.
think most people have seen every liquid come out of every orifice a few times over by now. So if you're going to dramatize like a bit of cum or whatever, I don't think you're going to shock anyone.
It's always a lot of cum. That's what I notice about when they have like cum jokes in things.
Yeah.
I'm always like, that person has not come for a while because obviously it's to make it read on like film and to make it comical. You know, big or small
think-
is comical, but like it always feels like that's a lot of cum.
Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, tried to put a nail in the cum gag by doing... Have you seen The Brothers Grimm?
No.
Spoilers.
Grimsby.
Grimsby, whatever it's called. The Brothers Grimm isn't that like a Terry Gilliam film? Very different. But there is a scene where he... And look, I didn't like the film, but I did admire the fact that, wow, like an episode of South Park, it's like, oh, you're just going to go for it and, you know, fuck what happens. There is a scene where he hides inside an elephant's vagina. And they film inside the vagina where he's hiding, and you think, "Whoa!"
Hang on, it's not a real. Is it? It can't be inside a real elephant's vagina, though, right?
No, it's a
The way
set.
you said that, I was like, I don't know. Like he went to that rodeo,
Yeah.
and that was real life. Did he really get in an elephant's vagina?
No,
I
no.
feel like I would have heard more about that on the news.
No,
I feel like Peter wouldn't have been particularly happy with that.
But it's a realistic-looking elephant's vagina, so he's hiding in there. And I'm
Great
like,
day for the people in props when they're like, "Hey guys,
what are you making? Giant elephant's vagina?"
Yeah.
Excellent. But it's gross enough because he's in there and he's
The
slopping.
good news is also that could be used as a really effective fleshlight for a male
yeah.
elephant.
Yeah.
Like once they're
Well,
done
still up
with
to
it.
Liam Neeson afterwards.
Right, yeah. It's like, yeah, actually, to be honest, this is not an elephant's vagina. It's Liam Neeson's fleshlight.
So he gets into the vagina, and just when you think that's gross enough, then a male elephant comes along, gets aroused, and you're like, okay, we'll just see the elephant go up. But then you see the penis go in, and then you see him getting hit in the face with a giant elephant dick, and you're like, oh, wow, they've really pushed this joke as far as they can go. Then he gets drenched in elephant cum, like gallons of elephant cum. Like, they show it. And it is... And then he slides out of the elephant's vagina covered in cum. I mean, that's why I reckon he's tried to say, okay, you think you can do gross out humor? Fucking beat this. Hold my beer. I'm about to do the biggest cum gag on the planet.
Right. And look, yeah, I understand that that's, in some ways there is some, like, something
Merit.
to admire in that.
Yes.
But for me, there is nothing to admire in that.
No.
To me, I'm like, I didn't even like that's for me somebody going, oh, well, like somebody like has got a gun, so I better have a nuclear weapon. I'm like, no, let's just get rid of the gun.
In the Borat film where he has the nude fight with his manager and they run around and he gets like the ass in his face and stuff, did that make you laugh?
Yeah. As long as stuff isn't coming out.
That's a great quote. Will Anderson, as long as stuff isn't coming out. Words to live by.
All right, next movie.
All right, is it my go?
Yep.
Okay.
I want to let people know at home, by the way, that Charlie not only is like definitely messing up the DVDs each time, but also that time closed your eyes.
Yeah. Want to keep it interesting for us.
It is an excellent movie by a former politician, although he wasn't a former politician. He was a future politician at the time when he made this movie. Now back as a movie star. I watched one of his movies, in fact, a couple of nights ago, Terminator 2. It is Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Nothing on the front. This is a special edition. Looks like
Nothing.
a fairly recent purchase, like a recent edition. On the back, a creature from another world, ... And this time, Schwarzenegger is the prey.
Oh.
You know you're a big star when they
it's like
swap
this
out the
time.
character's name
Yeah.
and they put your actual name in.
And also, they're just bringing in previous things he's done as other characters to like flip it around. Like this time, he's the prey.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is like the first movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
What are you
like-
talking about?
I mean-
Is there a precedent?
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger stars in this action-packed adventure story of fighting men pitted against an unseen enemy, a force more powerful than their fiercest weapons. Can you have fierce weapons? Powerful weapons.
Powerful weapons.
They should have just a force more fierce than their powerful weapon. Anyway, recruited by the CIA to recruit hostages held by guerrilla fighters in a Central American country, and that's a good point because I've never to this date wondered what Arnie and his mates were doing in that jungle. It seems kind of like secondary because the main plot is being hunted down by this alien. But of course, they're there. The CIA have them there. Dylan brings in Arnie and his mates to go get something from a guerrilla fighters in Central American country. Schwarzenegger and his men encounter an enemy unimaginably more deadly than any on Earth because the predator is not of this Earth. Packed with spectacular special effects and combat scenes of gut-wrenching power, Predator is the most terrifying Schwarzenegger movie yet. You know what that is? That's a Monster Energy drink of blurbs.
It really is.
The other one was more like your wacky kind of like comedy. This one's like pumped up, powerful fucking action.
Yeah, it just says, we've got action scenes.
Yeah, we're extreme.
These weapons are fierce,
Yeah.
fierce. Here we go. Let's. The plot here on Wikipedia is not too bad. So
Have you ever gone to see a film based on spectacular special effects and combat scenes?
Yeah, I think people do now these days,
Transformers.
don't they? Yeah, I guess that's all you go to see those movies about, right? A spacecraft flies near Earth and releases a bright object which enters the atmosphere.
Wow, they're really starting from fucking line 1 of the script with this synopsis.
It's only 6 paragraphs, though,
Okay.
so it's not too bad. In the Valverde jungle, Major Alan Dutch Schaefer and his team. We used to even do that handshake at high school. Dutch,
What's
Dylan.
the matter, Dylan? They got you pushing too many pencils.
And his team medic Mac Elliott, tracker Billy Soul, gunner Blaine Cooper, explosive experts
Dylan.
Jorge Poncho Ramirez, and radio operator Rick Hawkins are tasked by the CIA.
Shane Black, I believe, who may also have been the writer of this film.
That's right.
Plays Hawkins.
Are tasked by the CIA with rescuing an official held hostage by insurgents. Yeah, so okay.
Hey, this film was written by 2 brothers called Jim and John Thomas.
Shut up. The Thomas brothers?
Yeah, but John Thomas.
John Thomas. I mean, I reckon he hated Jim.
Yeah.
He's always like, why did Jim get Jim? And I got fucking John
Don't
Thomas.
worry, he's a Jimmy. You put a Jimmy on your John Thomas.
CIA agent, liaison, and former U.S. Army Colonel George Dillon, a former commando and an old friend of Dutch, is assigned to supervise the team despite Dutch's reservations.
I never knew Dylan's first name was George.
Yep, George. The team discovers the wreckage of a chopper and 3 skinned corpses, whom Dutch identifies as members of U.S. Army Special Forces unit he knew personally. They reach the insurgent camp and kill the soldiers, including a Soviet intelligence officer searching through secret CIA documents. I mean, that's a bad place to have your CIA documents, though.
Yeah.
Middle of the jungle. Confronted by Dutch, Dylan admits the mission was a setup to retrieve intelligence
Right,
from
that's
captured operatives and that the dead unit disappeared weeks earlier in a failed rescue. So it's all a cover-up to lure them there.
Bloody CIA.
After capturing a gorilla named Anna,
A gorilla, an actual gorilla.
an actual gorilla named Anna.
That's like, what are you doing? You're on the wrong continent.
Yeah, actually later on played drums in a Cadbury commercial based on Phil Collins from Genesis. It all makes sense, people. Wake up, sheeple. Wake up. After capturing a gorilla named Anna, the group proceeds to extraction, unaware they are being tracked with thermal imaging by an unseen observer.
So they grab her, the
Yeah.
gorilla.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Anna
Anna.
the gorilla.
Now, was that just so people didn't think this group of guys was too gay? Like, think about it. Why do you need Anna in this film?
So they think they have a mission that they're meant to be.
Well, it gives Dutch someone to rescue.
Yeah, exactly.
But you
And
don't
they
really
need to have a mission
her to.
because-
But don't you think it's? I mean, this film is quite homoerotic in terms of like all the oiled up muscle men running around in the jungle. Shh! Don't tell anyone. What happens in the jungle stays in the jungle. And I think they just threw in a bit of like female influence, so it's not too much of a sausage fest. Don't you reckon? This to me seems like a studio note Too many oiled up muscle men. Get a chick in there.
Anna escapes and is chased by Hawkins, but they're ambushed by the creature. It spares Anna but kills Hawkins and drags his body away. Dutch organises a manhunt during which Blaine is killed by the creature's plasma weapon. An enraged Mac initiates a firefight which wounds the creature, revealing luminescent green blood, but it fails to draw it out. The unit regroups and questions Anna, learning that their stalker is a creature. Oh, no, she's there for exposition as well.
Ah, right.
Learning that their stalker is a creature locals call El Demonio Que. I'm not going to say it. So the demon who makes trophies of men.
Well, that's fairly specific. Okay. All right.
Sounds more exotic in their local language.
I mean, it's a real question of semantics because maybe is he the demon who makes trophies for men? Because that could be quite useful, espally on.
Oh yeah, no, we've got it's footy. Yeah, exactly. We're trying to get some trophies done for the kids.
Oh no, you got it all
Best
wrong.
Clubman.
I'm not here to hunt you. I'm here to make trophies. Your footy club booked me.
You know what? I'm the demon who makes trophies for men. I've got to change that in the book because it is so close, particularly in the native language.
This happens a lot.
I mean, it's okay. Don't. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
I get this a lot.
My mistake.
Please,
don't worry about it.
Everything's fine. That night, Mac.
Maybe that's what he's trying to say to Arnie at the end when he takes his helmet off. It's like huge misunderstanding.
Honestly, I just came here to give you some trophies.
I agree. Things escalated. You did some stuff you're probably not proud of. I've done some stuff I'm not proud of. But honestly, I just want to make trophies.
That's why people say that the millennials, all they want is trophies. It's the influence of the predator. That night, Mac mistakes a wild pig for the creature and kills it.
That's right.
In the confusion, the creature steals Blaine's body, leading to Dutch to realise their enemy uses the trees to travel. The next day, an attempt to trap the creature fails, leaving Poncho injured. Mac and Dylan pursue the alien, but it outwits and kills them both. It catches up with the others, killing Billy and Poncho and wounding Dutch. Realising the creature does not target unarmed prey because it's no sport. Oh, that's right.
So that's why she's there. Because there is a moment where
plot point
where she picks up a gun and Arnie kicks the gun out of her hands so she doesn't become a target.
Yeah, she's exposition woman basically.
Yeah. Anna exposition.
Dutch. Oh yeah. Though the creature is only realizing the creature. Yeah. Blah blah. Dutch sends Anna to the helicopter unarmed. We've got to mention the helicopter because obviously
the chopper.
Yeah, they're no one Americans the chopper. The creature pursues him through a river, causing its cloaking device to malfunction.
That's right.
Though the creature is only a few feet from Dutch, he does not see him and moves on. Dutch realizes that the mud covering his body is masking his heat signature from the creature's thermal sensor.
And also cleaning his pores, which is a wonderful
well, this would have been the bit where I was like, you got all these like muscly, oily guys in the jungle and now he's having a mud bath.
Yeah.
Get the woman back in. Get her back from the chopper. While the creature removes the spinal columns from the bodies, Dutch crafts traps and weapons and lures the creature with a war cry. He disables its cloaking device and inflicts minor injuries, but is cornered. Acknowledging Dutch is a worthy foe, the creature discards its mask and weapon and engages him in hand-to-hand combat. Dutch is almost beaten, but crushes the creature under a trap's counterweight. As the creature lies dying, Dutch asks, "What the hell are you?" But it simply repeats the question in garbled English before activating a self-destruct device, echoing Billy's laughter as the countdown begins. Dutch takes cover just before the self-destruct device explodes in a mushroom cloud. He's picked up by his commander, General Phillips, and Anna in the helicopter.
The chopper. All right, so this question, right?
Yep.
So at the end, he's got the creature pinned. He asks, "Who are you?" The creature triggers the nuclear bomb and then starts laughing Billy's laugh.
Yep.
Like, the Predator obviously know that, because the Predator's just recording sounds to mimic, obviously to make him a better Predator. Yeah. But he uses the laughter at exactly the right way to make the laugh happen, almost like a maniacal kind of laugh. And then I seem to remember his mandibles start like laughing as well. So why does he need to play the laugh? Can't he just like do his own alien laugh?
Maybe it's like a soundboard, from a breakfast radio show. He's taking like...
But the Predator appears to actually be laughing as he's playing Billy's laugh.
But maybe he can't communicate in that way, so he's taking all these things like sampling. He's like the avalanches. Right. He's getting all these samples and then he can drop them in the right moments.
But But do you think the Predator is in that moment expressing like the same emotion, which is like, ha ha ha, I've got you now?
I mean, I feel like that plot point isn't cleared up.
No.
It's hard to know how much the Predator understands about our ways.
Trivia.
Well, here's what I was going to say. Like, what do you think the most? Because this is like full of great lines.
This is the Meg. Oh, I ain't got time to bleed.
I was going to say,
if it bleeds,
we can kill it, which I think is probably the.
When I was there, I ain't got time to bleed's not bad.
Yep. A lot of bleeding stuff.
Yeah, a lot of bleeding. Now, trivia for this. You know the original creature who played the original creature?
No.
Really? Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Hang on, what?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Shut
originally,
the fuck up.
If you watch the bonus features,
no way.
Originally,
no way is that true. Are you kidding me?
I'm telling you, originally the creature looked more like a giant cockroach. It didn't look like the predator that we all know today. And they actually shot for weeks using Jean-Claude Van Damme as like he was under the foam suit. But then they sacked him after a couple of weeks. They rethought the film and they got Stan Winston in, who designed the 6'10" Predator suit.
So hang on, Van Damme
is the original Predator.
Was in it, but then didn't make the cut.
Yeah. Well, he was in it in like in a suit, man in a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
There's even footage of it online. It looks like a giant red cockroach running around.
Hang on, I'm just going to go to 15 things you probably didn't know about Predator. So these may well
sequel to 10 Things I Hate About You.
This may well be things that you already know about Predator or that we've already discussed. All right. Here we go. Oh, okay. The movie wasn't called Predator until after production. Do you know what it was called beforehand?
Killer from Space? No? Why are you laughing? Because that's so right or so wrong?
It's wrong. Because it's like a good description, but it's also wrong. I was laughing for two reasons. Okay. The movie was almost titled Hunter. Hunter was the original movie.
Pretty good. That
Predator's better, though.
Yeah.
Predator's definitely better, I think.
Yeah.
The pitch for the movie name-dropped some recognizable movie hits. The screenwriters pitched Predator to studios as...
Jim and John Thomas. Let me guess. They pitched it as Halloween meets Star Wars. No, Halloween meets Platoon.
You're in the kind of right vibes.
Friday the 13th meets Born on the 4th of July.
Rocky meets Alien.
Oh, fuck, Rocky! The film that I reference more than any other film on the planet. How is it Rocky?
Well, I guess, I don't know.
There's a guy with muscles in it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Fighting an alien.
Jim and John Thomas have got
what
terrible
we're saying
pitches.
is a guy bashes an alien. What else do you want?
And which Rocky are we talking about? Because he loses the first one.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's Rocky 2 meets Alien. No, hang on.
You know, you're in trouble when your writers are terrible with metaphors and similes.
It's Alien meets Alien 2.
So, aliens?
It's Alien meets... It's my stepmother is an alien. All right, here we go. The film was shot entirely on location south of the border. They're actually in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. All right. Shane Black was cast for his script expertise, not his acting chops.
Right.
So they got him on board to punch up the script.
And they said, we'll give you
we'll give you a part because we've already got to be out there in the jungle. You can be it's easier for you to be throwing around lines if you're actually just there, right? Black, who plays Hawkins, had previously written the screenplay for Lethal Weapon. He was covertly cast in the film, so he'd be available to make on-the-fly and uncredited script changes.
So if you're Jim and John Thomas, and you arrive first day shooting, and you're like, "Oh, okay, there's Arnie and Carl Weathers, and is that Shane Black, the guy who just sold Lethal Weapon for like over $1 million?" Well, we're fucked. We're so fucked.
It's like going to see the new Transformers movies, and one of the regular characters is Aaron Sorkin, who wrote The West Wing. They're like, "Hang on. I feel like they didn't get him in for his acting here. I feel like he's been punching up this script a little." Suddenly, Optimus Prime's doing a lot of walk and talks with Bumblebee. Of course, we didn't mention this. Of course, we have mentioned this previously on the podcast because we've talked about Predator before, of course. But two future politicians in this movie because, of course, Jesse Ventura.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who would later serve as the governor of Minnesota.
Right.
The look of the Commandos was based on the Sergeant Rock comics.
Okay.
Hawkins can be seen reading a Sergeant Rock comic in the end credits.
And I believe that Shane Black is actually making a Sergeant Rock film with The Rock. I believe. I think that's true. Look, maybe.
I mean, that should be true. That's a good enough pitch.
I'm pretty sure The Rock posted a photo of him and Shane Black doing a read-through.
And it's all in the same universe as the Predator. So the Predator could
everything
be in
is linked. Goes back to Jack Singer.
Old Painless shot blanks.
That's the big Gatling gun.
It was still extremely deadly. The GEM-134 minigun wielded by Ventura's character didn't shoot live rounds, but for safety reasons, the cast and crew were required to stand at least 50 feet away when it was fired.
50 feet?
Well, they clearly didn't want to have a Crow-style incident, right?
Considering it was made 8 years before the Crow, probably.
Oh, man, it would have been worse with that gun, though, right?
Yeah.
All the cast died.
Oh, my God.
Come and see this movie. All the cast died during it. I mean, it'd make a lot of money, right? Like, particularly if it's one of those, like, Final Destination movies or whatever. If you, like, did Final Destination 5, right, you cast a bunch of kind of up-and-coming young Hollywood, like, people, and then you just kill them all before, like, they all die on set in something just before.
It's right there in front of us. Expendables 4. I mean, they're all on their way out.
They're all expendable.
Yeah, totally. Like, that's how you...
This time, they truly were all expendable.
I mean, how many more films does Chuck Norris and fucking Mickey Rourke have in them? I reckon you say, guys, we're going to take you all out with a Gatling gun.
No, you go. In the third scene, you get shot by a Gatling gun. And they're like, you mean I pretend to be?
Oh, no.
Okay. This is awkward.
Read your contract.
See, at the time, you were in your trailer.
We had 3 lawyers. You were smoking a
Three
giant
lawyers.
bomb.
3. All right. The Predator's heat vision isn't actually heat vision. The film makers attempted to use actual heat vision for the Predator, but the specific camera proved impractical for the on-location shoot. Instead, normal footage was made into negative image. So they faked the heat vision, and the colors were added. The Predator's glowing green blood was made from glow sticks. Yeah,
in the jungle after Earth Core.
Yeah, there'd been a bush dwarf.
Yeah.
Imagine running into fucking the Predator and a bush dwarf. You're out in the middle of the fucking wild. You've like
just taken mushrooms.
You've taken some ayahuasca and you run into the fucking Predator when you go for a wee. All right.
Get to the chill out tent. There's bean bags and headphones.
Then no one make it to the silent disco. Jean-Claude Van Damme. There we go. Jean-Claude Van Damme was the original guy in the Predator suit. It says here that he was fired from the movie because he complained too much about how uncomfortable the suit was.
Well, if he just called the guys from Ultratune,
yep.
they could have come and adjusted it for him. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm guessing too that's pre his, first big leading role. I mean, this is probably his first break, right, Van Damme?
I guess so. The original design for the Predator was scrapped. Okay, you told me that. James Cameron partly inspired the creature's new design.
Yeah, it looks kind of Cameron-esque, doesn't it?
While on a flight during the production of Aliens, Cameron mentioned to Winston, who was sketching ideas for the new Predator, that he'd always wanted to see a monster with mandibles.
Huh.
I feel like this is the sort of thing that James Cameron says. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I've always liked to see?
Like Donald Trump.
A monster with mandibles. Build me a thing that can get me to a planet where there's monsters with mandibles. Winston added the new oral appendages to the final drawing of the updated Predator. The fully functioning suit weighed upward of 200 pounds, which was a lot of weight for Kevin Peter Hall, the 7-foot-tall ballet dancer, martial arts expert, and actor they brought in to replace Van Damme.
I mean, when they say ballet dancer, how many would you? If you saw a 7-foot ballet dancer, it would disrupt your enjoyment of Swan Lake, wouldn't it?
He plays the lake. The entire lake. The break in production was a blessing in disguise. The stop in production to redesign the Predator allowed the filmmakers to edit an hour of the movie together to show to the studio. They liked it so much they gave the production more money to create bigger action sequences in the last third of the movie once filming picked up again.
So I'm sure Jean-Claude Van Damme feels great about that. You know what? Once you took that annoying Belgian out of it, it's so much better. Here's more money.
Last but not least, Optimus Prime.
What?
And Predator have the same voice. Peter Cullen, who is uncredited in Predator, provided the voice for both Optimus Prime and Predator.
When does he use its voice?
I don't know. At the end?
I can remember that bit. I don't know.
Where he says, when he says...
Autobots transform
and
roll out.
Roll out, yeah. Predators transform and roll out. You remember that bit, right?
Nah. I mean, that's I thought was the whole point, was the Predator speaks in samples.
Yeah.
Should we take a little break?
Yeah, let's have a little break.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. And we're back.
We're back. All right. Is it my turn or your turn?
Yeah, your
Hang
turn.
on, my turn. All right. I'm going to go here. And this is a movie, Charlie. You can read out the title there.
Center Stage.
Center Stage.
About the cutthroat world of ballet dancers in New York.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie that I saw by myself at a cinema.
Yeah.
At about 10 o'clock in the morning, post radio show. I went down to a cinema and it was me, and then it was a whole bunch of mums with their daughters. So I looked incredibly creepy. That's what I remember. It was a buy one get two for $50 sale at Sanity. So back in the day, where that was a bargain.
$25 for a DVD.
Right.
Jesus.
And that was their bargain, though.
Yeah, right. Is that how much DVDs were? I can't
They were
remember.
expensive for a while. There was a moment.
I used to
reckon, where
have
they
a
got
problem where
This
I-
one was $26.95. It says on the back.
Holy shit, that seems overs. Well, then again, but you're bringing the experience home, aren't you, Will? All the dancing, the prancing, a little mincing.
I think there might be some vomiting in this one as well. I think one of them's got an eating disorder.
My memory, I don't think I saw it at the movies, but I do remember seeing it a couple of times. Hangover Day film. It definitely seems to be amongst my friends a Hangover Day film, and I seem to recall. Is the girl from the wrong side of the tracks the one who joins the ballet school? Is she like a plumber or something? Is that
yeah,
right?
I think so.
Read the
Okay,
plot.
well, we'll on the front cover. Let's have a look
Okay.
at what it says. This is the collector's edition, by the way.
Oh, good.
So obviously for collectors only, the perverts edition. The tagline for this movie is Center Stage. Life doesn't hold tryouts. Although it does, it's mostly just tryouts.
mainly,
Life
yeah.
is actually
A
mostly
job interview is
tryouts.
a tryout.
Everything pretty much in life is a tryout for something.
You
or
don't just
another.
get given
No,
things.
dating someone is a tryout. Going to
Yeah.
school is a tryout. You're measured in that. Yeah, even just
Even when you go like for clothes, you're trying them on. Then you're trying out for clothes.
life is mostly
New
tryouts. Center Stage 2. Sorry, we were wrong. Life is mostly tryouts, as is this movie. All right, so that's what it says on
Who
the
does it
front.
say who the stars are?
Doesn't say no stars get a
I
mention
remember
on the front.
Zoe, a young Zoe Saldana, isn't it?
Okay, so let's. Amanda Schull was the top billed star. Then Zoe Saldana from
Saldana.
from
It's
the Guardians movies. Susan May Pratt, Peter Gallagher, Donna
Yes.
Murphy,
No.
and Ethan Stifel. So this would have been one of those perfect movies almost to kill everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Apart from Peter Gallagher, because we still need to make the OC. Remember?
Yeah, well, Peter Gallagher might have survived,
Yeah.
but all the kids were out doing something together
Gone.
and they all die.
Final destination on stage.
So let's have a look at what's in the special features, by the way.
Okay.
Original widescreen presentation. Well, you want to watch it in widescreen, don't
Yeah,
you?
not 4:3.
Audio commentary from director Nicholas Heitner. That'd actually be worth watching. I've never watched the director's commentary, but I'd like to know what was in the director's head. You say, oh, look how hot they are. Oh, you're really perfect. Extended versions of 3 key dance sequences. Oh, this is worth watching. The
Yeah.
extended versions. 2 never before seen deleted scenes. I Want to Be With You music video by Mandy Moore. Behind the scenes featurette on the making of the movie with cast and crew interviews. Isolated tracks of songs and George Fenton's musical score. The trailer, talent profiles, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Starring Peter Gallagher from American Beauty and some of the world's greatest dance talent. Oh, okay. Well, maybe they were all dancers.
That's why we don't
they're
know
not
them as
household
actors.
names. Center Stage follows the hopes and dreams of a tight-knit group of young dance students as they try to make a name for themselves in the ultra-competitive world of professional dance. Talented, vibrant, and supremely gifted, they have sacrificed many of life's ordinary pleasures to get this far. But will they risk it all to succeed and experience the thrill of taking
Center stage? Is it ... center stage?
No,
Nah.
unfortunately,
They
it is
don't
not.
string that one out.
Well, they've already used their ... a little bit earlier in that sentence, to be honest, because they went, the pleasures to get this far ... but will they risk it all? So they couldn't have gone with another ... so quickly. Let's have a look at the plot for you from Wikipedia. So Center Stage, 2000 American teen drama, directed by Nicholas Heitner, about a group of young dancers, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it's set at the fictitious American Ballet Academy, it doesn't exist, in New York City. The plot, after a series of countrywide auditions, 12 young dancers gain entry to the American Ballet Academy. which is loosely based on the School of American Ballet. There you go. They work hard, attending classes every day for weeks to make them the best dancers they can possibly be. And in preparations for the final dance workshop, which will determine the 3 boys and 3 girls who will be asked to join the American Ballet Company, which appears to be based on...
So only half will get selected.
Yeah. The workshop will also provide an opportunity for the students to showcase their talent to other ballet companies across the country. So they have this big showcase day, right? So you want to be lead, you want to be center stage in the showcase to further your career opportunities, where you will be auditioned and tested at every level because life is an audition and a test and trials and tryouts. And then you'll go to trial. The workshop. Okay. Ramonash. Tensions mount between Jonathan Reeves, Peter Gallagher, the company's aging choreographer and director, and Cooper Nielsen, Ethan Stifle, his best dancer, who also wants to choreograph.
Arrogant.
Yeah.
Stifle. I mean, it's in the name, right?
They also have issues because Kathleen Donahue, Julie Kent, Cooper's ex-girlfriend and fellow dancer, left him to wed Jonathan.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's how I remember.
Star student Maureen is a closet bulimic who, in that she only throws up in closets, who seems to be poised for success, discovers that life is passing her by when she meets a pre-med student. That's right. She meets like someone who shows her the merits of life outside
of dance, yes.
Yeah. To the dismay of her controlling stage mother, Deborah Monk, herself a failed ballet dancer and current ABC employee.
Why is that always the case in dance movies? Like, especially ballet movies, there's always a matriarch.
There's always
who's
a dance
bitter.
mum.
Yeah.
Bitter dance mum who's
Barbara
forced their kids
Hershey
into
and
it.
Black Swan.
There's a long history in dance of bitter dancers forcing their children into becoming something that has only caused them misery. I mean, it's a bad pattern to keep going.
Literally, the film should be called Misery.
Yeah. Welcome to Dancers Anonymous. All right. Sweet Jodie Sawyer, despite underdeveloped turnout, body type issues, and
Turnout, I believe, is where she puts her toes.
yeah, exactly. Body issues and bad feet, is determined to dance.
This is a technical term.
Is determined to dance professionally, but it appears less and less likely as the movie progresses that she'll be good enough.
So
I mean,
we know what's going to
strap
happen
yourself
here.
in, guys. So she's going to be fine. Jodie's parents. It'd be great if that was the end of it. And it turns out you're not good enough because of your bad feet. Jodie's parents. Original title of the movie, Bad Feet. Jodie's parents.
George Miller heard that and was like, maybe if I spin that, I could make a fortune.
Jonathan and Maureen. Yeah, imagine if I said Happy Feet, based on the original movie, Bad Feet. Jonathan, Maureen, and a cold-hearted ballet teacher, Juliette Simon, try to convince Jodie to move on from dance and attend college. Jodie refuses to give up on her dream of being in a professional ballet company. Talented but smart Alec Eva Rodriguez, Joey Saldana, from Boston, loves to dance but seems destined to be stuck in the back of the corpse because of her bad attitude.
Yeah, she's like the bad boy of the dance company, I seem to recall.
Tensions also arise between Charlie, a naturally gifted advanced student from Seattle, and Cooper over Jodie. Charlie has a crush on Jodie, who had a one-night stand with Cooper and remains infatuated with
Oh my
him.
God, there's a lot of fucking bed hopping going on in
Well,
center
this is
stage.
what
I don't
it's-
seem to remember that.
But this is what it's like at dance school. It's
Yeah,
all you
would.
hot bodies
I mean,
that
can you
you're rubbing up
imagine that?
against it.
All the sweating and stuff. Like, I had a couple opportunities to do Dancing with the Stars.
Relationship killer.
And I said no.
You
but-
might as well just say to your girlfriend, we're splitting up.
well, part of it's like, I don't want to dance on TV. I think I'd embarrass
No.
myself. But B, like, I mean, that's got to be dangerous, right? Darling, I'll see you later. I've just got to spend 6 hours with a really fit hot chick grinding up against me. You be okay with that?
All you heard coming out of that show was like, don't let your partner go
Yeah.
on it. Like, just don't let your partner go on it. I mean, people met on it, right? Didn't
Heaps.
Rachel Finch?
Tom Williams dated that chick for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a hotbed of romance. That's how they pitched it to you. They were like, firstly,
Are you single?
Would you like to fuck a dancer? Yeah, how's your relationship? Would you like to fuck a dancer? By the way, could you be on Dancing with the Stars? Often people had already signed up by that point. That's how they got so many good celebrities early on.
Don't you love in Dancing with the Stars too, how every second year or so there'd be someone in who clearly physically was not up to dancing, like a Molly Meldrum or, John Wood, or like an elderly person. And they would have to partner them up with almost like a full-time carer, less a dancer and more of like a nurse. It's just like, okay, take a step, take another step, that's it.
Weird that like John Wood's finishing move is laying on a bed and then weeing into a like silver bowl. Is this part of it?
Is this a thematic thing?
It's like, hang on. But like 3 minutes of that dance, she just put him in front of the TV and she danced around herself.
That whole routine was just her rolling him over for bed sores.
Hang on.
The love will lift us up.
And I give you an 8 out of 10. All right. Despite Jonathan's objections, Cooper choreographs a rock pop music based ballet for the workshop. He wants to modernize it, Three ballets.
From memory, he wears a leather jacket, right?
Yeah,
sure. He's a rebel who lives by his own rules.
3 ballets are presented. Jonathan and another choreographer create the first 2 respectively. The 2 more traditional ballets are not dance to actually ballet music. The first, not shown not shown beyond the entrances of the corpse and soloists from the wings, is to Mendelsohn's Italian Symphony. That's why Ben Mendelsohn's.
Yeah.
He originally was just composing. While Jonathan's ballet, choreographed by Christopher Wheeldon, is set to Rachmaninoff's second piano concerto. Cooper's ballet mirrors the relationship between himself, Jonathan, and Kathleen.
Oh, God.
Jody, Charlie, and their gay friend, Eric.
Why'd they have to say he was gay?
Oh, well, I guess they had to. Are set to dance the 3 lead roles when Eric sprains his ankle in final rehearsal.
Who's
to
it up
Jonathan's
to?
protests and Jody's apprehension, Cooper steps in to fill the role, and the tensions between Jody, Charlie, and Cooper play out on stage. Or would you say center stage? ... After the final workshop, Cooper starts his own dance company, much to Jonathan's chagrin, as Cooper's financial backer is a wealthy widow who Jonathan was hoping would donate to the American Ballet Company.
You fucking white-anting bastard.
Cooper asks Jody to be principal dancer, as her dancing style, though technically deficient, is perfect for his company.
You are so bad.
Our company's going to be called Bad Feet, and I feel like you should be our lead dancer. He also asks to date her, but Jody turns him down in favour of Charlie. Maureen decides to give up ballet because she finally realizes that ballet is just something she does well and not what she wants in life.
No, that's good.
She decides to attend regular university and also seek help for her eating disorder. Eva is picked by Jonathan to join the ABC.
Good.
Proving her worth in the workshop, surprising everyone by dancing in place of Maureen as the lead in Jonathan's ballet.
Put the attitude aside.
Charlie and fellow advanced students and friends Anna, who was also favoured blah, 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 are asked to join the American Ballet Company. Okay, who cares?
No,
okay.
I don't care about this.
No.
Once we get past the 3 lead characters, we don't really care.
Yeah, okay.
All right, next one.
All right, next one.
A film that we have talked about a lot on this show.
In fact, didn't last week maybe,
I
or the
think
week
so,
before?
yeah.
Batman Returns.
Nothing on the front, on the back. And this is a quote from, it's in quotation marks, but it's not credited to anyone. So I guess we don't know who wrote this. Funny, wild, imaginative. A visual marvel.
I reckon the person who wrote that also wrote the blurb to Interview with the Vampire. That's what I would say.
Isn't it ironic that a DC film would be called a visual marvel?
I also love the idea that it is an unattributed quote.
Yeah, so that could come from anyone.
From
really.
anyone.
Anyone. That's Tim Burton.
How Tim Burton described his own film. What is the blurb?
There's no blurb because this is a special edition. This is a 2-disc special edition. So it's just a list of all the special features.
Okay, well, that's just a good one. We don't have to go through it because we've talked about it heaps before. But let's just put that one in the mix because that's definitely one that would be hard at home to pick whether that's yours or mine.
Definitely.
So let's just not give any more information.
Well, just to make it even harder, I have multiple copies of this. We both have multiple copies of this.
Did that make it harder or easier? Because the way you said I have multiple copies of this implied that that was my copy.
Did it? I didn't. Well, that was not my intention. Well, maybe it was my intention. I'm just saying that this film is so synonymous with us. We both have multiple copies. But whose particular copy is this?
Is this one? And remember, kids.
People hate this film, and I've always liked it.
It's not perfect.
If you're looking
in
for a
any
Batman
way.
film, it's probably no good. But if you're looking for just a fun, weird piece of like, I mean, this is a mainstream film. Think about what superhero films are now. And this is a film that starts with a deformed child being flushed into the sewers by his parents, which culminates in this same monster kidnapping everyone's children to kill them.
Right.
Like, and that's a PG. No, it's rated M. Shit. That would have been unusual for the day. Like, it's. Look, I really, this is the period of Tim Burton where I was really into Tim Burton. I really liked that kind of super weird gothic style. Before he started parodying himself, this film is what Tim Burton parodies now every time he makes a film, right?
Right.
Lots of spirals and weird little circus freaks and all that kind of shit. I like it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I also like it. 2 thumbs up from both of us.
Next.
All right. We're getting down the bottom of this. Okay, here we go, Charlie. You can read out the title there.
Now, do we say it the way we say it, or do we say it the way the filmmaker...
We say it the way the filmmaker says
Clerks.
it. Clerks. Because it's about American clerks.
Yeah.
If it was about 2 Australian guys doing the same job, we wouldn't even really call them clerks.
I think
no one even really says clerks
Nah,
anymore.
and I think that word's... we've just accepted the American pronunciation.
Is
these
there a
days.
chance that this movie, like,
Do you say
essentially...
desk clerk or desk clerk?
I don't say either.
Oh, right.
Never
Never
said
say
those
clerk.
things ever
Even
in my
when you're at a
life.
hotel, desk clerk? No?
Never said that before. I've never even imagined that
Clerk
somebody
Kent?
might... It's definitely Clerk Kent in Australia.
Yeah.
When he moved to Australia, everyone would keep pronouncing his name Clerk.
That makes
It
no
works the
sense.
opposite thing.
Because it's the Southern Hemisphere.
Well,
so
because
it's
we
everything
call
is-
Clark, and then here we call the name Clerk.
Oh, we love that a great American superhero, Clark Kent.
Clerk can't. Clerk can't.
Clark Kent is a different superhero.
That was his other identity. He actually had 2 secret
In the
identities.
sky, it's a bird, it's a plane.
Well-
No, it's Clark Kent. He's a real prick. You don't want to invite him around.
He was doing, yeah. He just occasionally would turn into Clerk Cunt. Well, you know when Superman could get the red, was it the red kryptonite that could turn him evil? Whatever, there was a coloured kryptonite that
Right.
could turn him evil. But maybe there was also a coloured kryptonite that could turn Clark Kent evil.
Yeah,
So he
right.
didn't turn into evil Superman. He just turned into evil Clark Kent, who was Clerk Cunt. Clerks is the
Clerks.
movie.
What if, I mean, we were talking about Chris Cornell the other day, and we were sort of romanticizing the 90s. But Clerks for me came out when I was in my last year of high school, I think, or at least year 11 to year 12. And it was in the era of indie. There was indie music, there was indie film, there was indie art. Like, it was exciting to be at that age when a film like that came out, which, you know, as everyone knows, was made for like $24,000 in the shop where he worked and got picked up by Miramax and sort of gave him a career. But that's kind of, I think that probably would be the first thing that put me on the track to the career I have now. It was like, fuck, man, anyone can do it.
I'm gonna. You know what I love about that is like, well, the major feedback we're getting from your movie is it's inspirational because they think, fuck, anyone can do it. I think Kevin Smith, to his credit, would be fine with that.
I know, I'm pretty sure I've heard him say that because he had the same feeling. He went and saw one of Hal Hartley's films. Oh no, maybe a Richard Linklater film.
I think it was in that era of those sort of films being made.
Indie mumblecore films where you could make a film where just a bunch of people hanging out in a suburb and there's no real kind of like, you know, first, second, third act. It's just like slice of life. And that's what made him want to make Clerks, and sort of did the same thing for a lot of other filmmakers. I
Well,
reckon.
I'm going to go a step further with this movie and just say this podcast would not exist without this movie. Because I think this is the movie that gets both of us into, you know, the idea of Kevin Smith. Like, essentially what we do on this podcast is that sort of version of Randall and Dante. You know, it's just
talking.
Just talking. It's just
Yeah.
people having conversations and kind of thinking that those conversations might be in of themselves interesting. You know, if you if you can talk about interesting things in an interesting enough way. But also the fact that, like, you know, it was probably the thing that initially, you know, got us interested in Kevin Smith, which meant we listened to Smodcast, which meant that we kind of had this
Started our own
idea that
podcast.
we could start this podcast.
So he's right. That idiot can do it. We can do it.
Right. This whole podcast is based on the idea of if that idiot can do it, we can do it.
Yeah. But it was the first time I remember seeing a film where I was like, oh, wow, these guys talk like me and my friends. Like, it was, you know, those characters were probably, you know, 5 or 6 years older than I was, but just to hear them talk about like Star Wars and sex nonstop and insult each other nonstop, I'm like, oh yeah, because like I guess teen movies up until then for me had been like John Hughes style films. I hadn't become aware of Richard Linklater at the time or anything like that. But that to me felt like the most authentic voice of my generation.
I'm going to look up because I think it had an anniversary recently. So
Probably, what would it be?
I'm going to see. Let's go here. 12 things. 12 facts about Kevin Smith's Clerks. You might not have known. All right. Clerks is loosely based on the Divine Comedy by Dante. Hence the name of the protagonist, Dante.
Didn't know that.
There are also 9 breaks in the movie to represent the 9 rings of hell.
That's right. I completely forgot about that. The title cards.
Silent Bob was born in this film, but only had 1 line in the film. I mean, his name was Silent Bob. Makes sense, right? The line was originally meant to be delivered by Jay, but Jason Mewes had such trouble delivering it that Kevin Smith decided to say it himself. This turned into a tradition for the rest of the films featuring Jay and Silent Bob. Yep. The film's shoestring budget is part of the reason it was shot in black and white. A number of different types of lighting were used, and this would have required a lot of post-production to solve issues relating to the varying color temperatures. With black and white, that isn't a problem. Kevin Smith worked in the store. We know that, right? Kevin Smith financed this movie by maxing out his credit cards and selling his comic books. That's kind of part of the mythology. That was,
That's cool.
This is what we liked, though. That was kind of part of the story of the movie, right?
Yeah.
The scene where Dante confronts Caitlin about her marriage to an Asian design major in the video store is done in one shot, which lasts for over 5 minutes. It was shot on the first night of filming. That's pretty cool. Despite having no violence in the film, almost no violence in the film, it was originally giving an NC-17 rating based solely on its graphic dialogue. The film's distributor Miramax hired an attorney, Alan Dershowitz, a member of O.J. Simpson's defense team.
I was going to say,
who successfully petitioned to lower its rating to R without any cuts.
Isn't that insane? Like, that's only 20 years ago. They were trying to make a film X-rated because of language. Like, how far we have come since then. Now we have a president who speaks like that.
I mean, it's pretty great, right? Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I think most of the other things there we know. But
all right.
Great film.
2 to go.
Great film.
Your go?
No, I did that one, so it must be your go. Okay, so this movie, incredibly timely, Idiocracy.
Amazing. This is like one of my all-time... I love Mike Judge. Office Space, I reckon, is like a really underrated film as well. Do you watch Silicon Valley?
I agree. Love it.
Silicon Valley
love it.
is one of the best TV shows going around.
Laugh out loud hilarious.
So well
incredibly
written.
satirical. So of its time.
Yeah, but perfectly balanced characters, right? You know, you once said to me something about why you love The Simpsons is they don't waste a character. And I feel that's the same way in Silicon Valley. Like, actors will come in for one scene, one character, one scene, and it's fucking dynamite. Like, you could make an entire series about that character.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, perhaps that's maybe the only thing sometimes that you go, like, some of them are almost cartoonish because they do come in so sort of fully formed and fully apparent on screen. But it's not meant to be like a mockumentary or like, set in kind of it's a fantasized version of something that is actually real, but we don't really have an experience of.
Yeah.
So it has that great ability to probably be like parodying and mirroring a lot of things that do happen in that Silicon Valley world. But at the same time, for the rest of us who aren't familiar with the day-to-day of it, it works.
Well, it's the same way that like
itself.
Game of Thrones, you can have no idea what they're talking about or referencing. But once you get an ear for the dialogue and the rhythm, you get a sense of what they're talking about.
Right.
It's like it's like music.
It's such a great show. Like it's, and I know a couple of the people who are in it. Like I know TJ Miller a little bit, and I know Kumail Nanjiani a little bit more than that. And I've known some of Alice Wetterlin and a few other people who did comedians that I do shows with, like in LA. But it's always one of those things when I see someone in it, I just go, oh,
you lucky bastard.
This would be, you know what? I don't want to be in a show, but I want to be in this show.
It's
like if there was a role for me in that show, I would learn how to be an actor just to do that role.
It's so well cast. It's hard to imagine that like they didn't. I mean, maybe they did. They actually found the performer and then wrote the show around them because it's amazing. Like I if you haven't caught up, you can binge it all on iTunes. I just did.
But sometimes it's like hilarious also in that way. Do you remember that? Like, I mean, this is not spoilers really. There's a time where essentially they're trying to pitch their company to a whole different bunch of other companies, and one of them is a massive porn supplier, and they go to that convention where it's all the people from the different websites that are in the like adult industry, and just this kind of pan they do just on the little like name tablets in front of them of all these companies and all this. It's honestly, it's one of those things that you can just rewind and watch again and like just laugh and laugh. It's such a good show.
Well, I reckon Idiocracy is like his best film, more than Office Space. He did another one called Extract, I think, with Ben Affleck and stuff, which isn't great. It's got a pretty funny Ben Affleck playing like the comic relief, which you probably don't really see ever. But Idiocracy, all right, I'll read you the blurb. From the creator of Beavis and Butthead, like, he's another dude like Matt and Trey who are like, just do one thing well, like leave something for the rest of us, you son of a bitch. From Mike Judge, one of the creative minds who brought you Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. Completely forgot about that.
I was never a huge King of the Hill fan, but
you can appreciate.
I can appreciate it, and it's somebody wrote the other day. Like I was reading an article about like his type of satire and his type of comedy, and sort of the way that what it's really about. And they were saying the only one that's really not that is like King of the Hill, which is just such a loving portrait of, there's a
Texas.
of that sort of lifestyle that it's like not quite satirical. It's not, meant to be satirical, but anyway. Yes,
prior to this film, prior to Idiocracy, when you think about, and Beavis and Butthead aside, but if you look at his other two films and King of the Hill and Silicon Valley, they're not gaggy comedies necessarily, are they? It's just the characters are so well drawn and the situations are so well drawn. And then when he puts those things into conflict, that's where the comedy comes from. It's such a
he seems to be good at understanding a group of people and how they might relate to each other.
Politics.
So
and
whether
mechanics.
they're like two like teenage, metal fans, or whether they're like a bunch of like hillbillies, or they're a bunch of like IT people in Silicon, or they're in like an office environment. He gets that his kind of comedy just lives in that space of here's this world that we live in.
Yeah. He's got. It reminds me a bit of like Richard Linklater or even Daniel Klaus in that it's observational comedy. He's very good at sort of identifying like the funny or the absurd in the ordinary.
Right.
Meet Joe Bowers, Luke Wilson. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but when a government hibernation experiment goes awry, Bowers awakens in the year 2505 to find society is so dumbed down by mass commercialism and mindless TV programming that he's become the smartest guy on the planet. Now it's up to average Joe to get human evolution back on track, filled with razor-sharp sarcasm and outrageous sight gags. Idiocracy will make you laugh out loud, whether you're absolute genius or a complete idiot.
Well, the thing about this movie that, and it's worth...
And then the last line is, in the future, intelligence is extinct.
Well...
That's actually
So it turns out,
now.
in the present, intelligence is extinct.
The funny thing is...
The only thing he got wrong with the movie was he said it way too far in the future.
Yeah, totally. You could read the Entity of the Vampire and it sounds like a comedy. You read the comedy of Idiocracy now in today's context and it sounds not so funny. Because, like, I was, during the whole election campaign, I wasn't the only one putting it out. But
it's become a cliche to the point where
Mike Judge has to come out.
And just gone, the world has become Idiocracy. And you're like, well, yeah, it has.
And Mike Judge has come out and addressed it. And he's sort of said, like, yeah, it's not funny anymore, unfortunately.
No. Yeah, my thing was a comedy movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to happen.
I mean, literally, the president in 2505 is a porn star, former wrestler, like gun nut, who is essentially just this giant showman and idiot. And it's hilarious at the time you're watching it because, like, how could a reality show star become president? But yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to like about it.
I mean, the big thing is, like, who would have thought that Idiocracy would come true before Terminator?
Yeah, fuck.
I mean, if I was going to guess between the two of them, I would have definitely gone with Terminator, but it turns out...
Well, the funny thing about this film, too, is it was buried. Like, they didn't... I don't think they even released it.
Actually buried. They literally had to bury it.
So what... I mean... You always hear about things being ahead of their time. Was there ever going to be a right time for this? Because it's not funny. Back then, they felt it like no one would get it. So is it just something that exists outside of the time continuum?
It's one of those things that, like, no, it was funny for about a year and a half when everyone thought that Trump wasn't going to win.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in that sweet period where it was funny that Donald Trump was running for president.
Remember?
Because like it was like a funny joke.
Yeah.
It's really funny. It's like Idiocracy, except now it's not funny anymore. All right, last but not least, speaking of not funny anymore.
Weekend at Bernie's.
All right.
We all know what this is.
Here's Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman are sharing top line credits there. Bernie may be dead, but he's still the life of the party.
Which is a pretty good tagline.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like that. All right, here's the blurb from Weekend at Bernie's. What starts as a typical carefree holiday at the beach for two young insurance company employees turns into a few days of murder, mayhem, romance, and hilarious misadventures. I mean, that could be your back of fucking Interview with the Vampire as well.
Yeah.
What starts as a typical carefree holiday at the beach for two young vampires turns into a few days of murder, mayhem, romance, and hilarious misadventures.
Two stockbrokers from New York are among the livelier than ever when Tom Cruise...
Weekend at Bernie's stars Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman as enterprising employees who, having uncovered an elaborate scheme of fraud and embezzlement at their company, Larry and Richard McCarthy and Silverman are awarded their own special holiday at their boss's posh house at the Hamptons on Long Island. Being impressed by the perks at the end of the corporate ladder, the two friends are eager to participate in the social life of the Hamptons on Long Island. Wow, that's some bad blurb writing there.
Really?
You literally just said the Hamptons on Long Island twice in a row. But their boss, Bernie, is a successful businessman with a highly checkered background. And at a beach house party to end all summer social institutions, the guest of honor turns up dead. However, Richard and Larry continue to live with him without spoiling Larry and Richard continue to live with him without spoiling their vacation with hilarious and startling results. There you go. Weekend at Bernie's.
So, let's talk about it. They go jet skiing with him.
Yep.
They sit on a banana lounge. They've got a string around his arm so he can wave to people.
Yep.
Like, okay, you can understand the pitch, why it might get people's attention. But the writers then have to go off and go, how many things can we do with a corpse before it gets a bit weird?
Isn't there a bit where they whack the corpse's nuts into something?
Well, isn't that in the water skiing?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's the water skiing scene. Yeah.
I mean, is someone getting hit the nuts once they're dead funny anymore?
I mean, apparently. Apparently it is. I mean, they made a sequel, right?
I would like to see someone reboot Weekend at Bernie's, but do it like
feels
for
like a
real.
perfect reboot.
No, but do it for real.
Oh, but do it
like
serious?
It's an actual
Like a real
fucking
serious
corpse.
movie?
Like two guys terrified out of their wits have to spend a weekend lugging a corpse around. Like a dark reboot.
With disturbing results.
Disturbing results.
Yeah, just like, okay, let's have a look at that as if it was like we do it as a dark movie.
Okay.
What starts as a typical carefree holiday at the beach for two young insurance company employees turns into a few days of murder, mayhem, and misadventure.
Fantastic.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Works.
Two enterprising employees have uncovered an elaborate scheme of fraud and embezzlement. So now it's like a John Grisham novel, right?
Yeah.
At their company. Larry and Richard are awarded their own special holiday at their boss's posh house at the Hamptons on Long Island. Yeah, that makes sense, right? It's like they're the young, like, you know, those John Grisham things always have your Tom Cruise type character.
Yeah,
they're young, they're naive. They start they're doing something murky.
Yeah.
You uncover the thing that's murky, but it turns out what you've really done is picked apart a conspiracy where you're going to be the one who's going to end up dead.
Yeah.
So they send them out to the house, but this is where shit's going to go wrong. Being impressed by the perks at the end of the corporate ladder, the two are eager to participate. Okay, yeah, good.
Still in drama.
Then their boss turns up dead.
Still in drama. No comedy yet.
He's a successful businessman with a highly checkered background. That's perfect for drama. And at the the end, you can still have the party.
Yeah, of course.
Right? You can still have the party.
Yeah, like Boogie Nights. That party seems fun until the guy
guest
blows
turns
his
up
brains
dead.
out.
Yeah, right? However, Larry and Richard continue to live with him without spoiling their vacation with startling results.
See, that's interesting because then it becomes an exploration of their trauma over finding their boss dead.
Right,
like
dead.
they can't accept it. They're in denial so badly.
Well,
So-
maybe they think they're going to be blamed for it. Or
Yeah,
something,
well,
right?
I think
They're
that's what
being
actually
set up.
happens in the comedy version.
Yeah, right?
You don't have to
So they're
change
being
a
set up.
word.
They're literally just...
Just find the right director. Give it to Lars von Trier. Say, Lars, we want you to do a Dogma style, shot-for-shot remake of Weekend at Bernie's.
Lars von Trier's Weekend at Bernie's.
Who do you cast as Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy?
So what have they got to be? How old have they got to be? How old
Maybe
are
that's
they?
like sort of
Like you got to be high enough that you're
like late 20s,
late 20s, early 30s, right? Yeah, okay, all right.
So, but I think you got to go for serious actors if we're doing the Lars von Trier version. You're not going for, who are the funny actors.
Yeah.
So to go for like
Ryan Gosling.
Hey, Ryan Gosling would be good as which one? Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah, right.
Because one of them's Ernest. Isn't Jonathan Silverman? He's more like the shyster.
Yeah.
And Andrew McCarthy's like the earnest one, right?
Okay, maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah. All right. So we'll have Goz as the earnest one.
Right.
Because, Goz is the earnest one. He's the pie-eyed optimist.
Okay.
Kind of like he's in the Ides of March. He's going into this expecting things, he's an honest guy. And then the shyster, you want an interesting kind of like a dark, kind of, maybe like a Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy and Ryan Gosling.
Weekend
at Bernie's.
Except you reboot it with a different title. You just call it like The Weekend. Because that's nice and enigmatic. Something happens on that weekend.
Yeah.
And then people turn up.
The
They don't know it's a weekend at Bernie's.
Lars von Trier remaking Weekend at Bernie's, calls it The Weekend. It has Tom Hardy, opens at calm.
Yes. Halfway through, people are like, this reminds me of something else.
Like some other movie. I can't.
Is that corpse water
Hang
skiing?
on.
Well, that's the hard part. How do you dramatically
How do you do the water skiing
shoot?
corpse scene? But like, no, you just gotta.
You got to do the same scenes.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the same.
No, it's a
script.
scene by scene, but
Scene by scene,
scene
but
by
not-
scene remake,
but not line by line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's something along the lines of, well, why is he water skiing in the comedy version?
I don't know.
You just got to adapt it.
All right. Well, I like that. Okay.
All right, that's it.
We should finish up. So we'll post this.
Let's do a recap, shall we? So for people playing at home, you can write down the names of the films, and then you can attribute a little W or a little C to work out which is which. Okay, so
You're not talking into the microphone, by the way.
I am talking into it now. All right,
Okay.
so the films are Bridesmaids, Jacob's Ladder, Honeymoon in Vegas, Interview with the Vampire, Batman Returns, Clerks, Weekend at Bernie's, Predator, and Idiocracy.
First person to identify who's the who's
And post it on the Facebook page.
and post it on the Facebook page, they receive my 5 of them.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Congratulations to where you are. Do you think someone will do it? I think they might. I mean, how hard can it be? You know what you shouldn't do? Like, just let a few people guess first, and then and they haven't won. You need to change the combo around a bit. Oh, that doesn't really help you because there's so many DVDs. You know what? Just have a crack.
We don't know what the system is.
Nah.
We have no idea what the system
How
is
do
yet.
Well, what we need to do, Mike Howell, when this episode goes up, can you just put can you do the first comment underneath the episode and you put it up and just saying, guys, put your guesses below? That's
Yeah.
probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, that'd be
that
a
way
good thing
everyone
to
can
do.
go check them all
Yeah,
out.
everyone can guess, and then we can just go through and see who guessed best.
Yeah, if you want to waste some more time when you're online, go to
Yeah.
our Patreon page.
That's
Patreon.com.
a better place. In
Forward
fact, go there first.
forward
Forget
slash-
this stupid DVD thing.
/TOFOP. We've talked about it a lot. If you're new listeners, it's just a way you can support our show. Go to the website. There's a video there. It'll explain everything.
If you're a new listener, we don't do this every week.
We don't. It's not the DVD podcast. We've also got another podcast called Two Guys, One Cup, which is an AFL podcast.
Uh-huh.
If you're not into AFL, it shouldn't preclude you necessarily from listening to this.
Well, apparently it doesn't.
Yeah.
I get a lot of feedback from people who aren't into AFL who listen to the podcast, and I've got a bit of feedback from some people who weren't previously into AFL, but since listening to the podcast are now a bit more into AFL. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can make your own decisions.
It's a
about-
similar flavour. Like, I think last week we talked about a player on Wikipedia for about 40 minutes. We
It's like
didn't get to the
this,
results.
but about football.
Yeah.
And some of the people, it turns out, don't like this. But anyway, whatever.
That also has a Facebook page, Two Guys, One Cup. You can check us out on Twitter, on Instagram. We have an Instagram page. Will, you got shows?
Yeah. So Wagga still left on the tour by the time people hear this. I will have just been in the Newcastle area. And then Montreal just for last festival. That's the end of July. Those tickets are on sale. I'm doing 6 of my show, Critically Will, 6 shows, which is 6 times more shows than I normally do there. And I'm not sure that normally they let me do one show,
Right.
one whole show on my own and then a bunch of spots around town.
Okay.
And then this year they're like, nah, 6.
Max it out.
So, yeah, well, here's the thing.
Please help me max it out.
Please help me max it out. Tell your friends, come along if you're in the area. That'd be really cool.
We also have a spiffy new website, tofop.com, where you can find not just this podcast, not just Two Guys, One Cup, but
We also have
FOFOP.
a spoofy new website. That's tofop.com. That was going to be a better joke. Sorry.
But you can check it out, find all things TOFOP on that website, and that's about it. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.